Imagine starting your day with a slice of toasted bread, a glass of fresh orange juice, or a bowl of low-fat yogurt. Sounds healthy, right? But what if these everyday choices, foods you've trusted for years, were quietly harming your pancreas and pushing you closer to type 2 diabetes? The truth is, it's not just sugary desserts or soda that raise your risk. Some of the most common foods marketed as healthy are hidden culprits, silently driving up your blood sugar and insulin resistance. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, over 37 million Americans live with diabetes, and 90 to 95% of those cases are type 2, often linked to diet. Even more alarming? The American Diabetes Association warns that millions more are pre-diabetic, often without knowing it. In this video, we'll uncover 3 everyday foods you might think are good for you, but could be undermining your health. Backed by cutting-edge research from top US experts, we'll reveal why these foods are risky and share simple swaps to protect your blood sugar and vitality. Stay with us. You won't believe what's on this list. Let's start with a breakfast staple, white bread and many breakfast cereals. You might be thinking, but I choose whole wheat bread or cereals labeled healthy. Hold that thought, because even these choices could be forcing your pancreas to work overtime. The science behind the risk. White bread, bagels, and most commercial breakfast cereals are made from refined flour. When grains are processed, their fiber, nutrients, and bran are stripped away, leaving behind starch that your body breaks down rapidly into glucose. Dr. Dariush Mozaffarian, a leading cardiologist and dean at Tufts University's Friedman School of Nutrition, explains that refined carbohydrates like white bread have a high glycemic index, often above 70. This means they cause a rapid spike in blood sugar, forcing your pancreas to release a surge of insulin to bring it back down. Over time, these spikes overwork your pancreas and desensitize your cells to insulin, a condition known as insulin resistance. A 2018 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that diets high in refined grains were associated with a 34% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to diets rich in whole grains. The Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health further notes that frequent consumption of high glycemic foods increases inflammation and oxidative stress, both precursors to diabetes. But it's not just white bread. Many breakfast cereals, even those marketed as whole grain or heart healthy, are problematic. A single serving of some popular cereals contains up to 12 grams of added sugar, equivalent to 3 teaspoons. Dr. Frank Hu, a professor of nutrition at Harvard, points out that added sugars in cereals amplify blood sugar spikes, while their low fiber content fails to slow digestion. This double whammy leaves your body struggling to regulate glucose. The marketing trap. You might see labels like whole wheat or multi-grain and assume you're making a smart choice. But here's the catch. Many of these products are still highly processed. The Whole Grains Council warns that terms like multigrain don't guarantee whole grains. And even whole wheat bread often contains refined flour as the primary ingredient. A 2020 investigation by the Environmental Working Group found that 85% of breads labeled whole grain contained significant amounts of refined flour, undermining their nutritional value. Take a typical slice of white bread. It has a glycemic index of around 75, comparable to sugary soda. Compare that to true whole grain bread with a glycemic index closer to 50, which digests more slowly and keeps blood sugar stable. The difference? Fiber and unprocessed grains, which act like a brake on glucose absorption. Why this matters for older adults? As we age, our bodies become less efficient at managing blood sugar. Dr. Elizabeth Selvin, an epidemiologist at Johns Hopkins University, notes that insulin sensitivity naturally declines after age 50. making older adults more vulnerable to the effects of high glycemic foods. For the 29 million Americans over 65 with prediabetes or diabetes, according to the CDC, refined grains are a daily risk, hiding in plain sight. Practical solutions. So what can you do? First, swap white bread for 100% whole grain options. Check the ingredient list. The first item should be whole grain or whole wheat flour, not enriched flour. Brands like Ezekiel or Dave's Killer Bread use sprouted grains, which have a lower glycemic impact. Aim for bread with at least 3 grams of fiber per slice. For breakfast cereals, ditch the sugary or refined options. Instead, choose steel-cut oats or rolled oats, which have a glycemic index of around 55 and are packed with beta-glucans, a type of fiber shown to improve insulin sensitivity. A 2021 study in diabetes care found that daily oat consumption reduced fasting blood sugar by 7% in pre-diabetic adults. Quinoa, buckwheat, or chia seeds are other nutrient-dense alternatives that won't spike your glucose. Portion control matters too. Dr. Walter Willett, a Harvard nutrition expert, recommends keeping refined carbs to less than 10% of your daily calories. For a 2,000-calorie diet, that's about one small slice of white bread, not the 2 or 3 you might have in a sandwich. Pair carbs with protein or healthy fats, like avocado or almond butter, to slow digestion and blunt blood sugar spikes. White bread and sugary cereals may be comforting staples, but their high glycemic load and low fiber content make them a silent threat to your blood sugar. By choosing true whole grains and controlling portions, you can enjoy your favorite foods without overloading your pancreas. Up next, a surprising drink you might think is healthy, but could be as risky as soda. Picture this. You pour yourself a tall glass of orange juice, believing it's a wholesome way to start your day. After all, it's made from fruit, so it must be good for you, right? Unfortunately, fruit juice and many natural snacks may be doing more harm than good when it comes to your diabetes risk. When you juice fruit, you strip away its fiber, leaving behind a concentrated dose of sugar, primarily fructose. Unlike glucose, which your body uses for energy, fructose is metabolized almost exclusively by the liver. Dr. Robert Lustig, a pediatric endocrinologist at UC San Francisco, explains that excessive fructose overwhelms the liver, leading to fat accumulation, a condition called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This fat buildup impairs insulin signaling, increasing insulin resistance. A single 12-ounce glass of orange juice contains about 36 grams of sugar, equivalent to 9 teaspoons, and has a glycemic index of around 66. That's nearly as much sugar as a can of cola, with a similar impact on blood sugar. A 2019 meta-analysis in the BMJ found that regular consumption of fruit juice was associated with a 15% higher risk of type 2 diabetes. Even when consumed in moderation, the lack of fiber means juice doesn't trigger satiety, so you're likely to consume more calories without feeling full. Natural snacks, like fruit smoothies or dried fruit, aren't much better. A small smoothie from a chain like Jamba Juice can pack 50 grams of sugar, while a quarter cup of raisins has 29 grams more than a candy bar. Dr. Marion Nessel, a nutrition professor at NYU, warns that these products exploit the health halo of fruit, obscuring their high sugar content. Compare juice to whole fruit. A medium orange has about 12 grams of sugar and 3 grams of fiber. Eating the fruit requires chewing, which signals fullness to your brain. A 2020 study in the Journal of Nutrition found that whole fruit consumption was linked to a 36% lower risk of type 2 diabetes, while juice had the opposite effect. The fiber in whole fruit also feeds gut bacteria, which produce compounds that enhance insulin sensitivity, according to Dr. Justin Sonnenberg, a microbiologist at Stanford. Why this matters for older adults? Older adults are particularly vulnerable to the effects of liquid sugars. Dr. Ann Peters, an endocrinologist at USC, notes that aging reduces the liver's ability to process fructose efficiently, increasing the risk of fatty liver and insulin resistance. For the 14 million Americans over 65 with diabetes, according to the National Institutes of Health, juice and sugary snacks can exacerbate blood sugar swings, leading to fatigue, weight gain, and complications like neuropathy. The solution isn't to avoid fruits, to choose it wisely. Eat whole fruits, like berries, apples, or citrus, which have lower glycemic loads and higher fiber. Aim for 1 to 2 servings daily, about 1 cup of berries or 1 medium fruit. If you crave a drink, blend a smoothie with whole fruits, vegetables, and a protein source like Greek yogurt to preserve fiber and slow sugar absorption. For store-bought juices, check labels and avoid products with added sugars or fruit concentrates. Better yet, try infused water with cucumber, mint, or ginger for a refreshing, sugar-free alternative. Herbal teas, like cinnamon or chamomile, can also satisfy your taste buds without spiking glucose. If you enjoy dried fruit, limit portions to a tablespoon and pair with nuts to balance sugar with healthy fats. Dr. David Ludwig, a Harvard endocrinologist, suggests treating dried fruit like candy and enjoy it sparingly. Fruit juice and natural snacks may seem like healthy choices, but their high sugar content and lack of fiber make them a hidden danger for your blood sugar. Stick to whole fruits and sugar-free drinks to keep your pancreas happy. Next, we'll tackle a food you've been told is heart healthy but might be sabotaging your diabetes prevention efforts. For decades, low-fat milk and fat-free yogurt have been hailed as heart-healthy staples, especially for older adults. But here's a question. Could these healthy dairy products be secretly increasing your risk of type 2 diabetes? The answer might surprise you. When fat is removed from dairy, manufacturers often add sugar or refined starches to improve taste and texture. A single cup of fat-free flavored yogurt can contain 15 to 20 grams of added sugar, nearly as much as a dessert. Dr. David Katz, director of Yale's Prevention Research Center, explains that these added sugars cause rapid blood sugar spikes, negating any benefits of reduced fat. A 2017 study in The Lancet found that high consumption of low-fat, sweetened dairy was linked to a 10% higher risk of type 2. Fat-free products also disrupt nutrient absorption. Dietary fat is essential for absorbing fat-soluble vitamins like D and K, which play a role in insulin regulation. Dr. Ann Pan, a researcher at Harvard, notes that low-fat dairy lacks the satiating effect of full-fat versions, leading to overeating and weight gain, key risk factors for diabetes. Surprisingly, full-fat dairy may be protective. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that regular consumption of whole-fat milk and cheese was associated with a 12% lower risk of type 2 diabetes. The saturated fats in dairy, particularly broad-chain fatty acids, improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation, according to Dr. Mozaffarian. The low-fat craze began in the 1980s, driven by fears of heart disease. But recent research challenges this dogma. A 2016 analysis in Circulation found no link between saturated fat from dairy and heart disease, and full-fat dairy was linked to better metabolic health. Yet, many older adults still reach for skim milk or fat-free yogurt, unaware of the added sugars lurking inside. Take a typical fat-free yogurt. A 6-ounce serving might have 18 grams of sugar, compared to 7 grams in plain full-fat yogurt. Low-fat milk often contains stabilizers like carrageenan, which some studies suggest may promote inflammation, further complicating blood sugar control. Why this matters for older adults. As we age, maintaining muscle mass and bone health becomes critical, and dairy is a key source of protein and calcium. But sugary low-fat options can undermine these benefits. Dr. Bess Dawson-Hughes, a bone health expert at Tufts, warns that older adults with prediabetes or diabetes need stable blood sugar to prevent complications, like falls or cognitive decline. The 26% of Americans over 65 with diabetes, per the CDC, are particularly at risk from hidden sugars in healthy dairy. Practical solutions. Choose full-fat or minimally processed dairy whenever possible. Plain whole milk Greek yogurt is a great option, with about 8 grams of protein and 4 grams of sugar per serving. Add fresh berries for flavor, instead of buying sweetened versions. If you drink milk, opt for whole or 2% over skim, and limit to 1 cup daily to keep calories in check. For non-dairy alternatives, unsweetened almond, soy, or oat milk can work, but check labels for added sugars. Dr. Willett recommends choosing plant-based milks, fortified with calcium and vitamin D, to mimic dairy's nutritional profile. If you love yogurt, make your own by mixing plain yogurt with cinnamon or vanilla extract. Avoid 0% fat products, which often compensate for flavor with sugar or artificial sweeteners, which may disrupt gut bacteria linked to insulin regulation. Low-fat milk and fat-free dairy may sound like smart choices, but their hidden sugars and reduced nutrients can harm your blood sugar. Embrace full-fat dairy in moderation, or choose unsweetened plant-based options to support your health. Now, let's wrap up with some empowering steps to protect your future. You don't have to eliminate bread, fruit, or dairy to stay healthy. The key is understanding that natural doesn't always mean safe, and low-fat isn't always better. By making small, informed changes, choosing whole grains, eating whole fruits, and opting for full-fat dairy, you can protect your pancreas and lower your risk of type 2 diabetes. Stable blood sugar isn't just about avoiding diabetes. It's about preserving your energy, protecting your vision, sharpening your memory, and keeping your heart strong as you age. The National Institute on Aging emphasizes that small dietary tweaks today can add years of vitality to your life. You've worked hard to reach this stage. Now's the time to invest in your health. It's never too late to start, and it's never too early to take control. As Dr. Frank Hu from Harvard says, every meal is an opportunity to nourish your body and prevent disease. So take a moment to check your pantry, read those labels, and make choices that support your long-term well-being. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden risks in everyday foods, share it with a friend or loved one over 60 who could benefit. Knowledge is power, and together we can build healthier futures. Subscribe to our channel for more science-backed tips on nutrition and aging well. Your health is worth it.